Hi students, Mr. C here in the wood shop. Today I'd like to talk to you a little bit about the setup and introduction to the CNC machine here that we have in the shop. Right here we're looking at the controller that's made by Mock Motion. Our machine was manufactured by a local company here in the west side of Michigan. So this way they can go ahead and help us out if we have any issues as far as servicing the machine. Now, I'd like to just do a brief introduction so that way you kind of can familiarize yourself with this machine and some of its controls, okay? So let's go ahead and take a look at the controller itself, okay? This is the operating system, which is really nice, and it is a touch screen system, and it'll allow for you to go ahead and gives you your X, Y, and Z coordinates, as well as all your other controls to make sure you can run the machine efficiently. Now, on the front of the machine here, you're going to find a series of different tool holders. We have a 6 tool holders bar here, so that means our machine can go ahead and pick up 6 different tools that you programmed in a single program. And we also have a vacuum press system that has 3 chambers on the left side and 3 chambers on the right side, and you can go ahead and open and close those at any time. Here we have our Hsd Spindle, which is a 5 horsepower spindle that will always generate and produce 5 horsepower of power no matter what your RPM is. Our maximum RPM is 24,000 RPMs. Right now I just have this on a spoil board, which you can see has been heavily used. This is going to be replaced very, very shortly before you return to class. Okay. Over here we have our desiccant to go ahead and take a look at our pressures. I'll discuss that in a little bit as far as how to go ahead and start up the machine and run through the process before starting a program, starting to cut material. This is a 4x8 machine. We do have our very own vacuum press, so this will allow for you to go ahead and hold down your material without having any issues as far as having it come off the surface that's cutting, or the surface of the machining. Okay, so when you come to the machine, this is what the controller will look like. Okay, so the very first thing you do is you bring your cursor over to the reset button, and I go ahead and press reset. After I've done that, I'm going to go ahead and press this button that says reference all home. Okay? And what this will do is it'll bring the machine up on the X, Y, and Z coordinate, so that way the machine will actually understand and know where it's located. So this is called homing. Okay? Now we have to let the machine know. Currently the machine thinks that it has tool 0 in it. That's not the case. As you can see when you look at your magazine, the only tool that's missing is tool number 3. So what we need to do is go ahead and click on the tool. This is tool number 3. Type in 3, press enter. Now what I would like to do to make sure I don't crash the machine, it's kind of nice to do this, is go ahead and press the tool change button. It's going to ask you what tool is in the spindle. Press 3. This way you know you will not crash that tool number 3 into a different tool. Now that I've put in tool number 3 into the spindle, what I would like to do is I would like to have the tool measured. So I press the auto tool 0, And what that'll do is it'll bring this over to this part of the machine, and it's going to bring it down and touch off on this measuring plate right here. And this will let the machine know, or the computer know, exactly how far down that cutter head is. So as you've seen, it just touched off there. Now go ahead, move that away. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to come to my controller and I'm going to jog my machine. And I'm going to jog it on the y-axis just a little bit and the x-axis just a little bit. And then what I'm doing here is I'm bringing the machine over, because the next thing I need to do is I need to set this machine to the bottom left corner like we always set up in our design program. For every program to start at the bottom left corner. So I'm going to go ahead and jog this down the Y. I'm going to bring it down to Z. Move it over to X. I'm getting close. I'm going to go ahead and go to Z and dial this down. So I'm low above the material still. I think it should come down about a 1/4 inch. A little bit more. Okay. Touching off nicely. I just need to move this a little bit on the Y, just a little bit. That looks about right. The Y, the X as well. So now I'm going to what's called zero this out. So on the X, I'm going to go ahead and press this button and move this all the way to zeros. I go down to the Y. See how it's at 1.87? I click that button, goes to 0. Now I need to go to Z, zero that one out. Now I have my material is zeroed out, and I'm going to be ready to go ahead and load up my program. Now what I have to do to load my program is, sorry about that, I have a flash drive in my hand. I have to take my flash drive, place it into the machine, And I can come over here to the load G code. And then this is tool number 3, ball nose for this program. I double click that. And then in this box right here, you'll see in a second, it's gonna pop up all the G code as far as all the coordinates for the machine to follow. And it's still generating the toolpath. It's a relatively large file due to what it is. It's a 3-dimensional sign, varying different levels on the Z-axis. And it's pretty detailed and intricate. And then as soon as it's done generating there, it's going to go ahead and pop up on this screen here to show you the tool pathing itself. Like I said, it's a very large file. It's probably 500,000 lines of G code. So that being said, our next step that we go ahead and take is once this is done generating, all we have to do is click on this button right here, and this will allow for the machine to start. It's popped up, our go button's here.